We're going to start our morning's readings, our Shabbat morning reading of the scriptures that we read on the Shabbat to illustrate to us and to all who hear why we gather on the Shabbat, and as we gather to study his word and to rest and to do the things that he teaches us. That's why we read these scriptures. There's many more scriptures that can be read, but we just chosen these as a sampling of both the Torah, the book of the law, the prophets, as well as the New Testament and the book of Revelation, to illustrate these things and to illustrate also that the command of Yah, including the Shabbat, the covenant of Yah, is eternal. It's not an Old Testament concept. It's not a New Testament concept. It's a Bible concept that comes from the throne of the Most High himself. And so we illustrate that as we study these scriptures. Isha is going to post the scriptures. Thank you, Akash, for doing that. Let's look at Genesis chapter 2 from verses 1, 2, and 3. Genesis chapter 2, verses 1, 2, and 3. Barashith is the name of this book that we call Genesis. In the beginning, Yah. And it says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. That was Barashith, or Genesis chapter 2, verses 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to post also the oh, thank you, Akash. You beat me to it. All right. Pasaman, praise the Most High. You beat me to it. You put that out there before. Yeah, for sister. Okay. Okay. Pasaman, you beat me to it. You put it out there before I got it. You were quick. Very praise the Most High. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we turn to Shemath, which is Exodus. These be the names. Shemath, Exodus chapter 19, verses 1, 2, and 3. Exodus chapter 19, or Shemath, verses 3 through 6. I'm sorry, Exodus 19, verses 3 through 6. Exodus chapter 19, from verses 3 through 6. Shema. And it reads, and Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Yaakov, and tell the children of Yashar'al, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Yashar'al. That was Shemath, or Exodus chapter 19, verses 3 through 6. We continue in Shemath, and we're looking at the covenant itself, chapter 20, and we're reading from the covenant from verses 8 through 11. Shemath chapter 20, Exodus 20, verses 8 through 11. And the scriptures read, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Praise the Most High Yah. That was Exodus chapter 20, or Shemath chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. We stay in Shemath. One more set of scripture in Shemath. We stay in Shemath. Go to chapter 31, Exodus chapter 31, from verses 12 to 18. Exodus 31, from verses 12 to 18. And Shemath reads, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak thou also unto the children of Yashar'al, saying, verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you, throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh that doth sanctify you. Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done. But in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doth any work in the Shabbat day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore, the children of Yashar'al shall keep Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Yashar'al forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim. That was Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 through 18. We turn to the book of the law, Adabarim, these be the words, the book of Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy chapter 30, Deuteronomy chapter 30, and we'll be looking at verses 1 through 10 of Deuteronomy chapter 30. These be the words, chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. And this book of the law reads, And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh thy Elohim hath driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thy heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy father, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of law. And if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Praise the Most High Yah. That was Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. Prophet Isaiah, otherwise known as Yeshaya. Yeshaya. Yah is my Savior. Yeshaya chapter 58. Yeshaya chapter 58, verses 12 to 14. Yeshaya 58, 14. In Isaiah the prophecy reads, And they that shall be of thee, waste places, thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. If thou turn away thy foot from Shabbat, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own way, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh. And I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Yaakov thy father. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. Praise the Most High Yah. That was Isaiah chapter 58, verses 12 to 14. Now we turn to the New Testament, the renewed covenant, and we look at the epistle that is entitled Acts of the Apostles. The epistle of Acts of the Apostles. Acts of the Apostles chapter 13. And we're looking at verses 38 to 44 of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 13. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, for which he could not be justified by the law of Moses. Beware therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder and perish. For I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. Now, when the Yahudim were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Now, when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yahudim and religious proselytes followed Shaul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Yahweh. And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Yahweh. Praise the Most High Yah. That was Acts chapter 13, verses 38 to 44. We stay in the New Testament and we go to the epistle that was addressed to the Hebrews. The epistle addressed to the Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. And the epistle reads, But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasha'al, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahweh. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasha'al after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh. For all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Praise the Most High Yah. That was Hebrews chapter 8, verses 6 through 12. We stay in the renewed covenant, the New Testament, and we're looking at the revelation of the anointed one, Yahweh Shai. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. And the prophecy reads, And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahweh, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of water. Verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. That was Revelation. The revelation of the Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Revelation chapter 14, verses 6, 7, and 12. And we stay in this prophecy of Revelation, and we go to the seventh trumpet as it is illustrated in Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to 19. The seventh trumpet, Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to 19. And the prophecy reads, And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Elohim and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders, which sat before Yahweh on their seats, fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, We give thee thanks, O Yahweh al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and his reign. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. That was the revelation of the Anointed One, Yahweh Shai, chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. Last but not least, we go back to Yeshaya for the last scripture of the morning. Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah 66, the last division of the prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 66, verses 22 to 24. Isaiah 66, verses 22 to 24. And the prophecy concludes. For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. And they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. Thus ends the morning's readings. Thank you, Akath, Isha, Shama, for posting those scriptures. As we said, we're studying Deuteronomy, and we're in Deuteronomy chapter 20. We were talking about how the Most High is pronouncing judgment on the heathen, ordering their annihilation in the land. And we want to make sure that we understand the reasoning behind this. Many heathen point their fingers up at the Most High and claim things like, where was he on 9/11? Or where was he when this catastrophe happened? Or where was he when all of these innocent people were murdered? They always try to point fingers at him, but they don't. Those that point the fingers is odd. They point fingers and they don't serve him anyway. It's not like they were serving him and they asked these questions. They were already scorners and they try to ask these questions as if to try to mock us who serve him. But the Most High is in his sanctuary in heaven. And he is at this moment working with the Anointed One, Yahweh Shai, and the nations of angels that they have to seal the 144,000 and bring a close to all sin. Sin is a transgression of the covenant of Yah. And to transgress his covenant, because his covenant is a transcript of his character of perfect righteousness. To transgress the covenant means to transgress righteousness, thereby you're bringing rebellion in his universe. This rebellion started in the kingdom of heaven. It started in the sky, in heaven. It started with a rebellious angel, and this angel became Asatan. He was a covering cherub. Let's look at it. Ezekiel chapter 28. And it's describing him as a man named Tyrus, who was a king. But he's talking about Asatan, just as we look at Job and we look at chapter 41, and he's describing Leviathan. And when he says he's king of all the children of pride, you know it's not a fish he's talking about. When you're looking at Job 41, has anybody ever studied Job 41? And he's describing Leviathan to Job. And when he goes through and he's describing Leviathan, and he's right at the end of the description, he says, he is king of all the children of pride. You know this is not a fish he's talking about, right? He's talking about Asatan. It's the same here in Ezekiel 28. When you read the account of what's going on here, you can see he's not talking about any earthly king. He's talking about, in fact, he calls him an anointed cherub. Anointed cherub is an angel. There's only two of those. They sit on either side of the covenant in heaven, the anointed cherub. One of them, we know his name is Gabar Allah, or Gabriel. We call him Gabriel. And we know his name is Gabriel because he told us, and let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. That was in, I believe it's in the book of Luke. When Gabriel was sent to Zechariah, and he was sent to Zechariah with a message about Zechariah's wife. And Zechariah did not believe the angel when he told him what was going to happen. And the angel, you can see he got a little bit indignant with Zechariah, and he let him know who he was and what was going to happen. Let's look at let's see, Luke chapter 1. Yes, Luke chapter 1. Before we go to Ezekiel, we're going to look at Luke chapter 1 just to understand a covering cherub. Luke chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse where the angel is talking to him at verse 13 and go down to verse 19 and 20. Okay, from verse 13 to verse 19 and 20. Verse 20 actually of Luke chapter 1. Thank you, Akat. Notice what it says. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zechariah, for thy prayer is heard. Thy wife, Elisabeth, shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Yachanan. And thou shalt have joy, and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahweh, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the set apart spirit from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Yasha'al shall he turn to Yahweh their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Aliyah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Messiah. And Zechariah said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is well stricken in years. Check this out. And the angel answered and said, I am Gabara Allah, that stand in the presence of Yahweh, and am sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings. Behold, thou shalt be dumb and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. Huh? I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Yah. There's only two of those. They're two angels. If you recall, Moses was told to make a sanctuary after the pattern that was shown to him. Part of that pattern was to make an ark, and he was going to make a mercy seat. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Testing 1, 2, 3. He's going to make a mercy seat as part of that construction. And the mercy seat was to cover the ark. The ark was to contain the covenant. And on two sides of the mercy seat were what? Two cherub, two angels that stood in the presence of Yah, right? So Gabar Al, or Gabriel, is one of those angels that stand in the presence of Yah. The other one we're getting ready to look at right here in Ezekiel chapter 28. Now, of course, there's a replacement for him now. He's been replaced because he was fallen. I don't know who he's replaced with. We'll find out eventually, but he's fallen now. But let's look at Ezekiel chapter 28 and understand how the rebellion of sin began and why the Most High is going to completely annihilate sin from his universe and bring it back into perfect harmony again. Notice Ezekiel chapter 28. Ezekiel 28, I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 15. Okay, watch carefully. Ezekiel 28 from verse 1 down to verse 15. And the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a Elohim. I sit in the seat of Elohim in the midst of the seas. yet thou art a man and not Elohim. Though thou set thy heart as the heart of Elohim, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, thou hast increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of Elohim, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, and terrible of the nations, and they shall draw thy swords against the beauty of thy wisdom. They shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit. Thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am Elohim? But thou shalt be a man, and no Elohim in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers. For thou hast spoken it, for I have spoken it, said the Most High Yahweh. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. So you see, he was a covering cherub. If you notice those stones, those are the same stones that represent the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. I want you to, if you notice, if you look at those stones, okay, they represent this. You'll find those stones among the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Hang on a second. There's a couple of the stones missing. There's a couple of the stones missing, but there's actually 9 stones there. There's 3 stones missing. Gold is not one of the stones, but those stones also are on the children of Israel's, the 12 gates of the children of Israel. They're also on the breastplate that Aaron was given, the high priest was given to wear into the sanctuary. These 9 of these stones are there. Okay, so the Asatan one is covered. His natural covering has these stones. He has these stones covering him. Okay. Also, when you look at Isaiah chapter 14, notice it said in Ezekiel that he was going to die like a man, that that the nations were going to kill him. Notice Ezekiel chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. I keep saying Ezekiel. Isaiah chapter 14. It gives you his original name, which is not his name anymore. His name is Asatan. But notice Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to begin at verse, let's see. I'm going to begin at verse 12, and I'm going to go from verse 12 down to verse, let's see. Man, I'm going to go from verse, there's a lot here. I'm going to go from verse 12 down to verse 17. We'll just use those. From verse 12 to verse 17. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? This is Asatan. He was called son of the morning. Maybe you get this confused because YHWH is called the bright and morning star. That's what YHWH is called. He's called the bright and morning star, right? Right? That's him. Lucifer is the son of the morning. He's two different names. Son of the morning is different from day star, bright and morning star. One is higher than the other. The day star is where the son of the morning comes from. You understand? So the day star is higher. Many get that confused. But his name was son of the morning. But he's now Asatan. And he was cast out of heaven, as we look in Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12. And we can see that there was a war in heaven. He was cast out. And I want to show you something here in Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, I'm going to begin at verse 7. And I'm going to stop for a second at verse 9. Revelation chapter 12 from verse 7 to 9. Notice what the scripture says. And there was war in heaven. Micah and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Asatan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. There's something I need to bring to your attention as we're looking at this. I want you to notice that this is the book of Revelation in the New Testament. And it says there was war in heaven, and it uses the name Mika-Allah or Michael. You notice that it used the name Michael. Many get confused. That's why they look at this and they say, well, Michael can't be Christ because they use the name Michael here. We have to understand something. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear clearly? I want to make sure you can hear me because, okay, good. Because listen carefully. Messiah did not become the only begotten son until he was born of Miriam. To be begotten means you're born of somebody. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? So when somebody is begotten, it means he was born. Messiah was not born prior to that. He always existed, but he became a baby in the womb of Miriam for our salvation. And when he was born, he became the begotten son. Begotten, okay, of the Father and of Miriam. Okay, prior to that, he was not begotten, but he was still the son. So that's why his name became Emmanuel, which means Yahweh with us. That's why his name became YHWH. Yah exists to save, because he will save his people from their sins. It's his role as he was born as Mashiach, the anointed one. Prior to that, he was Mika-Allah or Mika-al, which means one like the Most High, which is appropriate for him. One like the Most High. He's not the Most High, but he's one like the Most High. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? So why is Revelation 12 showing us the name Mika-Allah in the New Testament? Because it's showing you that this event that is describing this war in heaven took place prior to him becoming the begotten son. Does that make sense? So whenever you see the word Mika-Allah or Michael being used, it's showing you either an event that took place prior to him becoming begotten, or a prophet that's seeing the event prior to him becoming begotten. Like Daniel called him Mika-Allah or Michael in Daniel chapter 12. He said he shall stand up because he hadn't become begotten yet. He's looking at him and he's looking in prophecy, but to Daniel, he's Mika-Allah or Michael because, and to the angel that's explained to Daniel, he's Michael because he hadn't become begotten yet. He became begotten later on when he was begotten of Mary, and the angel Gabriel said to Mary, this is going to be his name. Okay. So here in Revelation chapter 12, they're using the name Mika-Allah or Michael because this event, this war in heaven, took place prior to him becoming the begotten son. Unlike the blasphemous Jehovah's Witness Christians that claim that he was banished in 1914. Foolishness. He was banished long before that. He was kicked out of heaven before the begotten son. Now he had access to go back and forth, but his access was cut off at the cross. When the cross, when Messiah, the anointed one, paid the penalty for the sin of man, or of the nation of Israel, particularly on the cross, that's when it was cut off. And that's what the rest of this verse tells us. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 12, and let's look at from verse 7. Let's look at from verse 7 down to verse 12. Actually, from verse 7 to verse 13. Notice what happened. And there was war in heaven. Allah and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. So now, notice it said the accuser of the brethren was cast down. Why did they call him the accuser of the brethren? You remember what he did to Job? What did he do to Job? He went to heaven and he accused Job, didn't he? He went to heaven and he accused Job. He said, Job will curse you to your face if you take away his money. Job will curse you to your face if you take away his family. Job will curse you to your face if you take away his health. He was accusing Job before the Most High Yah. That's why he's called the accuser of the brethren, right? He's called the accuser. And now he says, now the accuser is cast down. He can't come back up in there. Why? Because of the blood of the Lamb and the word of the witness of the people that witness to the power of the Lamb's blood. That's the blood of the word of their testimonies, the word of their witness to the character and righteousness of the Lamb, and in turn of the Most High Yah. So now the cross was the sign. Now that's why also, let me give you another witness to that, no pun intended. Let me give you another witness to that in Gospel of John, chapter 12, Gospel of John, chapter 12, Gospel of Yochanan, chapter 12. Notice Gospel of Yochanan, chapter 12. Some Greeks came to see Messiah. Some Greeks came to see him. No doubt they were Hellenists that probably were converts to the nation. They came to see Messiah in the Gospel of John, chapter 12. I want to start at verse, let's see. I'm going to start at verse 20, and I'm going to read down to verse 32. Gospel of Yochanan, of John, chapter 12, from verse 20 down to verse 32. Notice what it says. And there were certain Greeks among them that came to worship at the feast. See, only Greeks that would come to worship at the feast are those that were converts to the nation already. They were converts, they were proselytes. These were Hellenists that were now considered Yahudim, or they were considered Hebrew or Israelites because of their conversion, and they came to worship at the feast. If they weren't circumcised, they couldn't worship at the feast, but they came. Then the same came therefore to Philip, which was of Bethsaida of Galilee, and desired him, saying, Sir, we would see Yahushua. Philip cometh and telleth Andrew, and again Andrew and Philip tell Yahushua, and Yahushua answered them, saying, The hour is come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me. Where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour. Father, glorify thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people therefore that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said, an angel spake to him. YHWH answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. See? So at the time of the cross, now Satan could now have no more access to heaven. He had access even after he was first kicked out. He had access. He could go back and forth, because you can see he went forth to Job to accuse the brethren, and he went forth to Ahab to tell the Most High, I got a way that Ahab's going to fall. I'm going to put a lying spirit in his prophets, and I'm going to cause him to fall. That was Satan. They said there came forth a lying spirit. That's only Satan. So he came and he represented, and he came down to the earth, and he put the lying spirit in the prophets of Ahab and caused Ahab to fall. But he had access to come back and forth because he said he represented the earth. That was his access. They asked him, what you doing here? I represent the earth. Why? Because the earth had fallen into sin. They were under his control. He said, I represent the earth. That's why Messiah said he is the God of this world. Did you see that? Messiah said the prince of this world and the God of this world. He called him the God of this world because the earth follows him. He deceived the whole world. But he now, his access to heaven would be forever cut off at the cross. Okay, so he would be cast out forever. He would not be able to come to the heaven anymore and accuse any of us anymore. He's limited. He's limited to this area, to this earth. He's limited, and he knows he hates being limited. It's like he's in a cage. So now he's enraged and he's mad, and he comes to the earth to destroy anything and anyone that goes against his will. And even those that go do his will, he kills them too. So you see what I'm saying? So now this discord is in the universe. This discord of sin is out here. It's not in the all universe, it's on planet Earth. Anything that a human being touches, they talk about going to Mars, they talk about going to Jupiter. Anything that a human being can touch and see has been defiled, because it's defiled with the sin of that human being. You understand? Everything is defiled. So now we, as servants of the Most High Yah, are called to be agents of righteousness in the midst of an earth that is in rebellion against the Creator. Are you following me so far? Testing 1, 2, 3. We, as servants of the Most High Yah, are called to be agents of righteousness in the midst of an earth that's in rebellion against the Creator. And the rebellion is being led by Satan and his angels. Okay, that's the rebellion that's being led. And so what we're going to look at in Deuteronomy 20 is an object lesson of the destruction that's going to come to Satan and all that follow him. And this is the thing, brothers and sisters. Listen very, very carefully, please. Listen very carefully what I'm about to say. Listen carefully, okay? All right, this is important, what I'm about to say. If you're not taking a decided stand for the present truth of Yah, you've already taken a stand for Satan. I want to say that again, so make sure everybody in YouTube land hears what I just said. If you're not taking a decided stand for the present truth as given to you, you are taking a stand for Satan. Now, this is the thing. I'm not talking about people that are on the journey and they're just not where I might be or where you might be, right? I'm not talking about them because they're on the journey. We don't know, people, but I'm talking about people that know truth, that know what we're saying is true, and have not taken a stand on it. They are straddling fences. They're still messing with churches and Christianity, and they know better. And it's for their own selfish reason. Some want money, some want fame, some want friends. There's no middle ground. If you are not actively working for the righteousness of Yah, if you are not actively seeking to be covered in his perfect righteousness, to be obedient to his covenant, to give honor to his son, the anointed one, YHWH, if that's not your active purpose in this life, you already chosen a side. You've already chosen one. You've already chosen one. Okay, and that's what most people don't understand. That's why, because he's not gonna have sin. He's not gonna have sin, brothers and sisters. He's just not gonna have it. And he has made all provisions and preparations for any human being that wants to overcome their sin. He has made all provisions and preparations. You're not going to find those provisions and preparations in Christianity. Oh, yes, they talk about Jesus, yes, and Christ. And yes, you need Christ to overcome your sin, but they don't understand for the first part. They don't understand for the first part what it really means to serve Yahushua. They don't understand for the first part, because Christianity is a religion that's made by man, and they make Yahushua into some soft, flowery being, and they make him sound like he won't never punish anybody, and he just accepts everybody, and he will never do anything to anybody. He's just going to be soft and flowery and continue that way. They make it sound that way because that's what Christianity does. That's not the truth, though. That's not the truth. That's right. You're either all in or you're not in at all. Okay, that's just as simple as that. Okay, I want to show you why. He explains. See, this is the thing. If people, and this is, I was just talking to my wife about this morning. It's just amazing to me, and I should not be surprised, but it still is amazing to me how many people claim to be followers of this Bible that we're looking at and don't really read this Bible that we're looking at. It's just amazing to me how many people will take one or two verses and go running with a doctrine and not take the time to thoroughly study the scriptures, to pray and fast over it for years. Not 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, couple of years. I'm talking about years and years and years of studying and praying and fasting for the truth. Very few people want to do that. They want something quick, like a microwave religion, that they could just raise their hand and say that they're saved, or that they could just read a few verses and go off and call themselves teachers. It's amazing. But none of those type of people will make it, brothers and sisters. Because you know why I say that? Because, brothers and sisters, the storm that is coming on planet Earth is such that unless you are fully, completely anchored, and I mean solidly anchored in the word of the Most High, you're going to be swept away in the storm, man. It's just as simple as that. Messiah said that the ones that follow him are like the man that built his house on a rock. And when the storm came and the wind blew upon the house, it stood firm because it was founded on a rock. And he said, those that don't follow him are like those that built the house on the sand, and the storm came and the wind blew and blew down the house. And it said, great was the fall of it. And what most people don't realize, the storm came on both houses. The storm, the same storm, blew on both houses. One was able to stand and one was not. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Those of us that are going to be alive, those of us that are going to be alive, are going to go through the storm. There's going to be no secret rapture to take people away suddenly. That's a fable, a Walt Disney fable. That's not going to happen. But you're going to have to stand through the storm. And unless you are completely grounded in the word, I mean the word of the Most High, this Bible, you have to be, it's no cliche when the scripture says, order my steps in your word. Let not any iniquity have dominion over me. That must be the case for us to make it. There's no other way to make it, because the storm is coming. I can see it. If you're paying attention, brothers and sisters, it's almost like when Aliyah was praying for rain, and he kept praying, and the seventh time he bowed his knee and he asked the servant, do you see anything? And he said, I see a small cloud in the east about the size of a man's hand. And he said, run quickly because the storm is coming. Brothers and sisters, that's what's happening. The cloud has formed. It's way out in the east, about the size of a man's hand. It's very small, but it's coming. And when the storm arrives, unless you are grounded in the word of Yah, you're going to be swept away. There's no question about it. And so for the love of souls, for the love of truth, we teach straight truth from the word, because brothers and sisters, once that storm comes, it's too late. You can't get on board the ship then. It's too late. the door of the ark will be closed and it'll be too late. So now we're trying to, as the appointed time, the scripture says, now is the time of salvation. And now we are trying to cause sin to be taken off of those that are interested in having it taken off of them. All sin taken off of them through the blood of the anointed one of the Most High YHWH. And not only that, but to have perfect righteousness granted to them by faith, by the faith of YHWH. So that power will be given to be obedient to the covenant, and you'll be in harmony with your Father. That's what YHWH is doing, putting us in harmony with our Father. Praise the Most High Yah. That's what he came to do. His Father's will, our Father's will, to put us back in harmony with him. To be the daysman that Job talked about, to lay his hand on the Father and lay his hand on us and bring us together. That's the ladder that Yaakov saw, reaching up and down from the heaven to the earth. That's connecting heaven and earth. That's YHWH, the anointed one. That's why he told the disciples, ye shall see heaven open and angels of Yah ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. He is the ladder. Praise the Most High Yah. He is Jacob's ladder. Let us look at Isaiah chapter 26. Yahweh is going to show us something. Isaiah chapter 26. I'm going to go down to verse 10, from verse 1 of Isaiah chapter 26. Notice the scriptures. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust thee in Yahweh forever, for in Yahweh is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high. The lofty city he layeth it low. He layeth it low, even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. The foot shall tread down, even the feet of the poor, and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. Thou most upright dost weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Yahweh, we have waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name, and to the remembrance of thee. My soul have I desired thee in the night. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee in early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet he will not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. He will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. That's why no unrepentant person will enter the gates. See, if he was to show favor to the unrepentant, the wicked, they will not learn righteousness. See, now is the time, brothers and sisters. Now is the time to learn righteousness. Now is the time, because he said he's gonna pour it on the earth when the indignation comes. They're gonna learn it then, but it's gonna be too late. That's what Deuteronomy chapter 20 is about. Deuteronomy chapter 20 is the annihilation of sin and sinners. The annihilation of those that are unrepentant. The people that he's going to destroy here, as we get ready to go, let's go back to the book of the law, Deuteronomy, Adabarim, chapter 20. The people that he's going to destroy here are people that he gave hundreds of years time to turn from their way. He told Abraham, the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And that time, your people are going to be servants in a land that's not theirs 400 years. And they're getting the opportunity for the Amorites to turn. But when the cup of their iniquity overflows, it's on. And that's what Deuteronomy 20 is about. Right now, YHWH is seeking to seal the 144,000. And he has the door of mercy open to those that want the truth, that's not trying to play games of religion, not trying to exalt themselves and become leaders and have disciples after themselves, not trying to create their own religion of Christianity or Judaism or Islam. They're trying to give honor and glory to the Creator alone. And he's got the door open for them. to receive righteousness now. This is the time. That's why it seems quiet in terms from heaven. It seems like it's quiet in heaven. People say, well, he's not doing anything. They know God up there. He's not doing anything. The reason it doesn't appear that he's doing anything because he's completely laser-like focused. He's focused on the 144,000, man. He's focused on bringing them forth with perfection. And when he brings them forth, like I said, this ain't going to be no person jumping up and down in some church somewhere talking about they filled with the Holy Ghost or Jesus showed up and showed out. This ain't gonna be like that. This is gonna be on a whole level that they ain't even understanding. This is gonna be like Moses coming down from the mountain with his face glorified, lighted up. This is going to be like the apostles when they was on that mountain with YHWH, and he said, there'll be some here which shall not taste of death till they see the kingdom of Yah come with power. And he brought Yochanan up there, and he brought Kapha up there, and he brought Yaakov up there, and they went up there and they saw the brightness of glory up there, and they saw the Father's cloud up there, and they were scared to death up there when they saw that. This is going to be like the apostles when the early rain came on them, and their brothers said they was pricked in the heart, and they said, men and brethren, what shall we do? This is going to be like the apostle Shaul when they took part of his clothes, his garment, and they put it on somebody, and demons came leaping out of that person. It's going to be on that level, and even more than what I just described. It's going to be on that level. That's what he's getting ready. That's why you don't hear him right now. He's getting ready to bring it out. He's getting ready to bring the noise, brothers and sisters, with the 144,000, because that's the earth's final warning right there. That's the final call to come out of Babylon, my people. Come out of all these churches. Come out of all this place. That's the final warning. Come back to the covenant. Israelites, come back to the covenant. Keep the covenant of Yah. Forget man's religion. Forget all of these man-made things that come from Rome. Forget that. And follow the truth. Remember we just read in Isaiah that the righteous nation which keep the truth may enter in. That's the only ones coming in. The only ones. Praise the Most High Yah. Now let's go back to Deuteronomy 20. Now we're ready to read it. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Let's start at verse 1. Let's start at verse 1. And we're going to go down. We're going to go down to verse. Let's see. Verse 8. We're going to start like that. From verse 1 to verse 8. And we're going to cut over to Numbers for a second, okay? We're going to cut over to Numbers for a second. But let's look at this first. When thou goest out to battle against thy enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and the people more than thou, be not afraid of them. For Yahweh thy Elohim is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yashar'ah, ye approach this day unto the battle against your enemy. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For Yahweh your Elohim is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. What man is he that hath planted a vineyard and hath not eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle and another man eat of it. What man is there that hath betrothed a wife and hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return to his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. See, so it's not, see, listen carefully, brothers and sisters. The numbers don't matter to the Most High Yah. The numbers don't matter. What matters is who's with him. He can have one dude with him. All he needs is one, and he's got an army. You understand? So with Gideon, he said, you got too many. Gideon had 10,000. He said, you got too many, brother. You got too many. And he said, but wait, there's 100,000s are coming against us. You got too many. 10,000 is too many. I don't want man to get the glory in this. I want you to see the men that's ready. So he said, look, the one that went down to the brook, he said, go get some water. When they left the water like a dog with their heads up, ready to fight, those your men right there. When the ones that sit down and start to drink and take their time, they don't really want to go. They trying to be brave, but they don't really want to go. Send them home. And there only was 300 of them, and they destroyed 100,000 people. Huh? Because one Israelite will put to flight 10,000. One Israelite warrior will put to flight 10,000 with the spirit of Yah upon it. Okay? That's what you got. We talked about, the deliverance of Egypt and the deliverance of Babylon. They're talking about the Babylonian side right now. Okay? Now, wait a minute. That's why, notice, I want to show you something else. Notice Numbers, we're going to come right back to Deuteronomy, but Numbers chapter 1, from verse 1 down to verse 4, Numbers called Dabar, Yahweh Dabar, because it said, and Yahweh spake unto Moses. Yahweh spake Dabar, Yahweh Dabar. Let's look at Numbers chapter 1, Dabar, from verse 1 to 4. Notice what it says. And Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Yasha'al. And thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. With you there shall be a man of every tribe, everyone head of the house of his fathers. Now wait a minute. They didn't number everybody. Who did they number? From 20 years old and upward, only the men, and only the men that were prepared for what? Prepared to go forth to war. Did you hear? Did you got that? Did I just make that up, or did we just read that? Did y'all catch that? You see what I just read? You see that? He said they didn't number everybody. They just numbered only the males, and only the males that were 20 years old and upward. Those are considered men, and only the men that were ready to go forth to war. And we just read here in Deuteronomy, even of those men, he said, okay, if you faint-hearted, or if you got something you got to do that you haven't done yet, don't even join. Don't even come in. We don't need all of y'all. We just need some of y'all, because we just need the ones that's ready for war. Let me ask you a question, brothers and sisters. In these last days, how many men is YHWH going to have prepared to go forth to war? Tell me. We know the number. How many is he going to have that he is numbered that's prepared to go forth to war? That's right. 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Now you see where that comes from. It comes from number. Notice he said, I'm going to have men of every tribe, of all the 12 tribes. Okay? Of all the tribes of the children of Israel, I'm going to have 12,000 from each tribe, prepared men to go forth to war. The sons of Israel. There you go. Okay? There you go. That's why they're numbered. This time the war is spiritual. Because this is the Egyptian deliverance. These are the messengers that's like Moses. Okay, they come in with the message. They come in with the noise of the message and the power of the Spirit. That is why the Bible says in Revelation chapter 18 that the earth was lightened with his glory. That this angel came down from heaven with having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. There's no exaggeration here, brothers and sisters. This is going to be on a new level. See, the Most High doesn't do his business the way Babylon does business. Y'all need to understand that. Y'all listening in YouTube land. You need to hear this. He doesn't do business like that. He don't need mega churches. He don't need television stations and radio stations and airplanes. He don't need that. His business don't need any of that. All he needs is some men that are filled with his spirit. And I mean filled. Like I said, people get too used to this speaking in false tongue thing and this hopping up and down thing, and they think that's the spirit. No! When you fill with the spirit, you're going to walk on water. When you walk on water, when you fill with the spirit, you'll outrun any car. When you fill with the spirit, brothers and sisters, bullets won't hurt you. When you fill with the spirit, he can cause you to go 40 days twice, 80 days with no water and no food when you fill with the spirit. Okay? That's the true spirit. You ain't seen that. We ain't seen that yet. We ain't seen it, but we getting ready to see it. That's why we preparing, brothers and sisters. We're getting prepared. And when you get into Deuteronomy 20, see, he's telling, I only want the men that's ready to go to war, because we getting ready to do some, he's telling them, we getting ready to do some business here. We getting ready to do some business. Okay? We getting ready to do some business. Let's see what it is. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Deuteronomy chapter 20. I want you to watch this very closely, brothers. This is Deuteronomy chapter 20. From verse 9 down to verse 16, down to verse 17. I want you to watch this very closely. Please pay attention and let the Most High Yah please bless us with your spirit of righteousness and holiness. I know I've asked for it before, but please forgive me for asking you again. I just want your spirit to bless us and guide us in truth, that your name alone will be uplifted and honored and glorified in the name of YHWH HaMashiach, I pray. Amen. Notice what it says. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make peace, if it make thee answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributary unto thee. They shall serve thee. And it shall be, and if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, thou shalt besiege it. And when Yahweh thy Alim hath delivered it into thy hands, thou shalt smite every male, there it is, every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the woman and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, thou shalt take unto thyself. And thou shalt eat the spoil of thy enemy, which Yahweh thy Alim hath given thee. Thus shalt thou do, watch carefully, thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations. What is he talking about? But of the cities of these people, which Yahweh thy Alim doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, but thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, as Yahweh thy Alim have commanded thee. We're going to continue in a moment, but just a second. So nations that were away from Israel that fought against Israel, like Egyptians or Babylonians or Syrians, you know, when they fight against the nation and you end up taking, first you offer them peace, you offer them peace, you offer them a chance. But if they don't take you up on that, you go ahead, destroy all the males. And you take the women and the children and all they spoil of your enemies, you take that. But that's of the nations far from you. But of those people that are in the land of Canaan, because there were many nations in the land of Canaan, I don't want you to leave anything alive. You take the whole thing. You take everything, you destroy everything that they have. This stuff is cursed. It's defiled. Let me liken this into where we are right now. Listen carefully, brothers and sisters. This is like when the 144,000 comes forth, and you got heathen that hear the message of the 144,000, right? You got heathen that hear the message, and some of them are going to repent, and they're going to say, you know what? They ain't got no money, but there's a power on them that cannot be denied. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to follow with the God of them people. I'm going to follow. These are the ones that's making peace, okay? These are the ones making peace. You follow me so far? But then the other majority of them gonna say, nah, them people ain't got no money, they got no weapons. Then that spirit on them is a demonic spirit, and we gonna kill them. Those are the ones that's making war. Those are the ones that's gonna end up trying to kill us, not be successful, and then later on be destroyed. Okay? And utterly left. You understand what I'm saying? You following? Okay? So far? Okay, good. Because that's what we're dealing with here. Okay? So he's going to destroy, annihilate. And this is by his order. Notice what he said. Thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. Utterly destroy them. Save alive nothing that breatheth. Not man, not woman, not child, not anything. Destroy it all. And he went further than that. With regard to them, he went and told them, don't even touch their stuff. It's cursed. Don't even touch their stuff. It's cursed. Don't even take their spoil. Don't touch nothing of theirs. Burn it all. It's cursed. See, this is when judgment fell on the land of Canaan, on the Canaanites. This was after the 400 years that Abraham's children were in Egypt. And they were in Egypt 400 years, and the Most High gave them people 400 years to stop having sex with children. He gave them 400 years to stop their sodomite. He gave them 400 years to stop their lesbianism. He gave them 400 years to stop mixing and matching sex with people of your close relatives and raping people and offering children to idols. He gave them 400 years to stop that stuff, and they just didn't do it, and now judgment fell. Just like now. Just like now. He's giving people thousands of years, and he's giving them the 144,000 with the power that he's going to put upon them to warn them about what's getting ready to come. and he's giving them all types of opportunity. And when the warning message is given and when it's finished, it's on. Ain't no turning back. Okay. At that point, the Spirit of the Most High will stop striving with them. It will not strive with them anymore. And we can see it. We talked about this before. It's already stopping. It's withdrawing from the earth right now. See, the Holy Ghost is withdrawing from some people and settling on other people. That's what we need to understand. It's settling on others and it's withdrawing from some. So some people are getting colder and colder against the Most High Yah, and some are getting warmer and warmer with the Most High Yah. Okay? Some are getting colder and colder towards sin, and some are warming up more and more towards sin. You understand? It's happening. It's already started. It's not a one-day process. It's a process like the seasons. You know, spring doesn't come in one day, although like they say March the 21st is the first day of spring, December the 21st is the first day of winter. But winter doesn't come in one day. It starts gradually, right? First, you got the fall, the leaves fall off, then it starts getting windier, then it starts getting colder and colder, right? Then all of a sudden snow comes, and then all of a sudden you wake up and it's frost, and then all of a sudden there's ice, right? It doesn't come in one day. It's gradual, and then the snow starts to melt, and the weather starts to gradually warm up. Sun stays up a little longer. Buds start to come on the trees, and now you know spring is coming. That's how this is happening. It's coming like the seasons. It's gradually coming on. The Spirit is slowly withdrawing from people. At the same time, it's slowly settling on other people. So the people that are seeking the truth and seeking to glorify Yah is settling on them, and they're getting more and more light. This is the key. He's not going to give you his. If Messiah taught you and me to not cast our pearls before the swine, right? He taught us that. He said, "Do not cast your pearls before swine." Why? He said, because they're going to trample on your pearls, then come after you. So don't cast your pearls before the swine. If he taught us that, he himself is not going to do it. You understand? If he taught us don't cast pearls before swine, he's definitely not casting pearls before swine. That's why the Bible says that the path of the just, right? Proverbs 4:18, the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The more, when he shows you light of truth and you walk in that light, he'll show you more light. If he shows you light of truth and you're not even walking in that light that he's giving you, he ain't giving you no more. He ain't giving you no more. And if you keep messing around, he's gonna take away that what you had. That's the parable of the talents. He's gonna take that, he's gonna take away that what you had, what he had gave you, so that you don't even see it no more. You're gonna take it back. And that's where the strong delusion comes in. There are people that have been given light of truth, and they have not walked in it, and they are playing around with it. Okay, he's taking that back from them, and in replace the devil, Asatan, comes with the delusion of deception, and he comes on them, and the Bible says he's going to cause them to receive this strong delusion. Why? Because they did not have a love for the truth that they might be saved. That's why. They did not have a love for the truth that they might be saved. Simple as that, brothers and sisters. It's not complicated. People try to make it complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. They did not have a love for the truth that they might be saved. Okay. So praise the Most High. When you feel conviction, you feel conviction on your heart, that's the Spirit working with you. That's the sign that he's still with you. You have not committed the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. If you feel conviction on your heart for the word of the Most High and you are seeking to follow the Most High, that means the Spirit is working with you. Praise the Most High. When you feel bad because you sinned against the Most High, that's not because you're a good person. That's because the Spirit has convicted you, cut your heart. Bible says David's heart was smitten when he counted the people because he knew he did wrong. You understand? He knew he did wrong. His heart smote him. And that's what happens to us. See? But the problem lies is when you are in sin and your heart not smiting you no more. When you're in sin and it don't seem like nothing no more. When you have no problem going against the word. When you have no problem going against the Most High. When you don't even consider the Most High's word important anymore. When you can just use it to deceive people, or even don't use it at all. That's when you have a problem. That's when the problem is, brothers and sisters. That's where you have a serious problem. And there are people like that out here in the earth right now. You do not know it. They're out here. Okay. So why is it, aside from the fact that he gave them 400 years to turn from their wicked ways, and they refused. And so he says, don't save nothing alive, don't take any of their stuff. All their stuff is defiled. Why did he do that? Notice what it says in Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 18. Notice what it says in Deuteronomy 20, verse 18. Why did he do it? That they teach you not to do after their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against Yahweh your Elohim. That's the key reason. Remember, the number one commandment: love the Most High Yah with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength, which goes along with the first principle of the covenant: thou shalt have no other Elohim or gods before me. That's the first principle of the covenant. That's the one that he keeps repeating all through this book of the law. Don't worship any other gods. Don't serve any other idols. Don't bow down to any of them. Don't even say their names in your mouth. Don't come to any others. Keep my covenant. Keep my commandments. Keep my statutes. That's what he's telling them. So he said, listen, I'm going to have you destroy these people, not only because they committed all these abominations on the land, and the land is defiled, not only because of that, but because they're going to teach you their ways, and you're going to sin against me. Can't have that. Because he's destroying sin. That's the whole object. He's destroying sin. He's trying to cause them to be saved. So he's like, look, I want y'all to be saved. You're the children of my friend Abraham. You're the children of my servant Isaac. You're the children of my servant Yaakov, who I named Yashar'al. You're their children. I want you to be saved. So listen, I don't want you getting caught up in the sin of these people and their gods. I want you to be saved. Because I'm going to destroy all these people. Don't get caught up with them. I'm going to destroy all of them. That's why, brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in this world's money. Don't get caught up in the ways of this world. Don't think this stuff it's gonna last forever. It's not. No country on the earth, none is gonna last forever. They all going down, brothers and sisters. They're all going down. The kingdom is gonna come. The kingdom of Messiah is gonna take the place of all these nations. Okay, it's coming. And when he comes with the noise, it's gonna be on. I'm telling you. Now, there may be nuclear war and all that before. I don't know. The brother asked me last night, is this going to happen before or after World War III? I don't know. And I don't even want to guess. But I will tell you this, it's coming. That's for sure. Okay? There's no question. It's coming. All right? And there's no question his people need to be sealed before it happens. So you may hear wars and rumors of wars. Messiah told us that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about World War III. The heathen need to worry about World War III. We don't need to worry about that. The heathen need to worry about that. All we need to be concerned with is, are we glorifying the righteousness of the Most High Yah? That's our only concern. Are we bringing him honor and glory? Is our lives bringing him? Are we seeking to be obedient to his covenant? Are we doing that? That's the only thing we need to concern ourselves with. Forget all that other stuff, man. He'll take care of that stuff. That's why he said, seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. That's Messiah taught to us, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness. That's all we need to concern ourselves with. Things concerning the kingdom of Yah. That's right. So now, at the end of this chapter, is interesting. The value that the Most High places not only on just trees, but on fruit trees. He places a value on fruit trees, even in the midst of all this war. I want to show you this. Notice what it says in Deuteronomy chapter 20, from verse 19 and verse 20. We're going to finish this chapter, Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 19 and verse 20. Notice what it says. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time in making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them. And thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in a siege. Only trees which thou knowest that they be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down. Thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it be subdued. See? So he said, when you see fruit trees, don't cut them down, because you can eat of those. So you can see the fruit tree is very important to the Most High Yah. Even in the midst of war, he said, wait a minute. First off, don't come out here if you faint-hearted. Don't come out here if your heart is faint. Okay, don't even worry about that. Just go back home if your heart is faint. I don't need a whole bunch of y'all. I just need those that are ready for war. Right? Then he said, when you go to war, wait a minute, you see a fig tree, or you see pomegranate tree, or apple tree, or orange tree, don't destroy that tree. No, you go ahead and destroy the people, but keep the tree. Because you can eat the tree. That's your life. You can eat the tree. Okay? Praise the Most High Yah. Okay? So he's showing us even the fruit tree is important to him. Praise the Most High, yeah. That's why he said we're going to have 12 manner of fruits on the tree of life, one every month. We're going to eat a different fruit every month. That's aside from all the other trees that's going to be in the garden, aside from all the other trees going to be on the earth. Just think of the earth right now. How many varieties of fruits are there, sweet fruits on the earth? I mean, really, right? I think we can say safely there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different varieties of fruits. I mean, I was talking about with these people from India, acquaintance of mine from India, and I said my understanding is that India produces more mangoes than any place on the earth, and they said yes, that's true. And he said there's varieties you don't know nothing about that's here, and you got some varieties in the United States, but there's more and more varieties. Many varieties of mangoes in India that you don't know nothing about. See, and that's just of the mango family. That's not even talking about all the other fruits that there are. And that's just on this blighted earth. That's not even talking about on the earth made new, right? So when the earth made new and we don't have man having the value, the nutritional value of all the food that we got, which he has done, devalued all of it and messed it up with his Monsantos and crew, messed up all of the wheat and messed up all the corn and messed up all the food. When you have it in the kingdom and this purity and power, oh man, it's gonna be great. So he's telling them, and then don't destroy the fruit tree. You can eat at the fruit tree. Trees are very beautiful things, and they bring character and they bring beauty to wherever they are. You know, tree. I myself hate to see a tree knocked down unless it's because the roots are messing something up and you got to knock it down, or of course it's dead and it's just standing there and you got to remove it. But you want to save trees as much as possible. Praise the Most High. Yeah, they bring beauty. The Most High created trees and they bring beauty to the earth. Praise the Most High. Yeah. And of course they give us. We know they give us oxygen as well. Praise the Most High. All right, we're going to stop here and we're going to take a little break and let's have a word of prayer.